There's something so important about cultivating what it is that you do at home.
Yeah.
So we do a prayer set at home every week. We call it Daily Bread. But the whole point is if you're not leading yourself in it, you won't ever lead anybody else.
Hey everybody, welcome back to another episode of the Iris Global Green Room. I am here with my friends, Chris and Summer Shealy from Shealy Worship. You might have seen them on my chest. All the time. Not that you've seen my chest.
No.
But you've seen me wear their shirts all the time. Not only do they put out my favorite merch ever,
Thank you.
and I actually mean that, and I think I've proved that.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have proven it.
It's like a daily wearer. I have two now, and I rotate.
Yeah.
But they're incredible worship leaders.
Thanks, man.
That I've had the privilege of sitting under y'all's worship time after time after time. Why'd you look at your wife?
Time after time.
You got it, yeah. And you guys are my friends,
Thanks. Love you, bro.
and I love you
Thank
guys.
Yeah.
How many kids do you
Same.
have?
4.
4 whole kids.
Four children.
Real life human beings in our home.
And
4 kids and 2 dogs.
2 dogs. What kind of dog?
Double doodles.
Double doodles.
Gross.
Yeah.
Ho.
Totally gross.
I break it.
Canceled.
That's broken.
So I had a friend that had a golden doodle. Do you know what a golden doodle is?
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, who wasn't?
It's like the father of...
Yes.
So do you know what a double doodle is?
No, but I could care less.
Okay.
But
Double
Just
portion.
kidding. I'm just kidding. And this dog would consume his wife's.
Panties. It's a thing.
Yes, I was going to be a little bit less descriptive.
We all have underwear.
And we would have to like retrieve it from the dog.
Always.
Both ends.
Both ends, yeah.
And it is, and that anything with the name Doodle in it, I won't touch.
It's
I don't
pretty
like it.
specific.
I feel like it's the enemy's, camp.
Yeah. Sorry.
Hey,
No, we've been on that journey. I think we've
Yeah.
conquered
Rounded a
that.
corner, yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, we've rounded a corner.
I would like to give a just quick. Oh, help me, Lord, because I would like to. I am jet lagged. Jet lag and the two of you is going to be a
combination.
bad combo.
Good luck.
So I want you, all of you guys watching, to give me grace and give them grace. But grace. No, I
So
love you
much.
guys. Love you guys so much.
you.
We've done a lot of stuff around the world. Have we done stuff internationally? Just around the States.
States.
yeah,
States.
With
stateside.
a lot with Global Awakening.
Yes.
Yeah.
And but you guys have a crazy journey. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And let's get into it.
Let's
How
do
did you
it.
guys meet?
Oh, man. Where did we meet? We met...
We met in high school.
Well, there's a version of this story that I'm not allowed to tell because it's like from a movie back in the 90s called American Pie. This one time at band camp. You remember that?
Bro, no.
Do you remember that movie?
No.
You never saw it before Christ came into your...
I don't know what you're talking about.
We met at band camp in high school.
Are you
Not
serious?
fully true.
It's 100% true.
Why?
It's-
Well, why don't you
we're losing
believe
cool
that
pants.
this is
Cool
true?
pants.
Cool pants. Guys, we got to
blushing.
keep it. We're gonna have to do this.
We're going to have to hold this together.
We are, because
You make me laugh.
you're worship leaders, and I'm a leader, and so we have to lead.
Yes.
So cool pants were being worn. That's where you left it off.
Yeah.
Cool pants were being worn. No, you're losing his cool points by
Yeah.
telling the full story. We usually leave little pieces
Little
like
pieces
that
out. We met
out, but
super young. We met at 14 years old.
Whoa.
Yeah. Let's start there.
Both 14.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
did you know from the beginning
It's one of those where I heard the Holy Spirit
at 14?
at 14 years
Okay.
old.
Hold on, I want to cut you up. Did you hear the same thing?
oh no.
Of course not.
Okay.
No.
Did you have a walk with the Lord? Were you walking with the
Yes.
Lord at
Oh,
14?
yeah.
You were walking with the Lord at
We
14?
were. I was in a tough moment because I was born and raised in Texas, and my parents were in the ministry,
I
God's
love
country.
Texas. Yes. Thank
Okay,
you, Lord.
thank you. So
I feel the Lord at this table.
I bleed
Shadaba.
the Lone Star. That's
Mm-hmm.
my thing. But anyways, my parents were in the ministry, and they took a job at a church in the town that he is
I grew up
from.
in- Yes. Aiken, South
And
Carolina.
so I
Shout
was a
out.
freshman in high school when that happened.
Okay.
So I left, that's just like a rotten age to be like, hey, everything you've ever known.
Yeah,
See
I just
ya.
did that with both of my kids.
Starting
Yeah,
over.
congrats.
Well, with my 2 older kids, yeah.
Ministry related.
Yeah,
too.
yeah. Let's not talk about
So I was like, yeah, I didn't want to be there, and I didn't really care for anybody that was there. It was
Right.
kind of like my,
Right.
yeah. But I definitely did not hear that.
No, I did. It shocked me too. Like I looked across the room holding my alto saxophone. For those that were wondering,
Yeah. I'm more of a tenor fan, but okay.
And the Lord was like, "This is your wife," and so I was like, "Okay." Of course, I didn't say that to her. I would never do that. But
Did you hear this audibly? Like
it was. I don't. It was a knowing.
Okay.
Yeah, that's my wife, and here we are. I mean, hey, obviously,
you heard.
I heard.
Oh, but okay, so we met at 14. We didn't start dating until that was 16. Our freshman year. We started dating our junior year. So it took 2 years.
Okay. And what were you doing in the meantime? Were you just putting out the vibes? Were you just like flashing that saxophone?
You know what you do as a little boy is you annoy to get attention.
I don't know. I didn't date.
Okay, so I annoyed to get attention.
Okay.
And her maiden name is Shelton. I'm Shealy, so everywhere we went in the school, we're like lockered beside each other, next to each other in every class. So it was like heaven set this thing up. And so I just would do really stupid things to get her attention. Like I'd hide her saxophone because she also played saxophone. I'd hide it.
Can you see it? Close your eyes.
No, I can't.
This is a lot of years ago.
It was only 2 years, people. Don't judge me.
Okay. It's okay. We all have our past.
You know how... You know the lockers you'd open and you'd have to do the 3 combos. So as soon as she'd get it open, I'd slam it back shut just to get her to look over at me. Like I'd wear extra cologne so that she would comment on my polo sport.
Oh, what about the day in science?
Oh, this one time in science, we
This
had
is
this.
good.
I was really cool because doing stuff with Global, you get these
Yeah.
charismatic Catholic guys, right? That pop up from time to time. We were just with one in San Diego last weekend. Our teacher in 9th grade was a charismatic Catholic guy, biology class. And I was really trying to impress her, and we had those badges. And so I put a few Altoids out on the thing, and I chopped it up.
Stop. What are you doing?
I snorted it, like
An Altoid.
just to get attention. It was the dumbest thing. It was.
This was the level.
I can feel the judgment in the room.
So science class, we used to take paper clips and shove them in the sockets. And
That's why stuff. You just do
like
stuff.
we just did it all the time. We would take the little breath, like those breath drops, like that we would steal from like CVS. Why am I doing this so much? And like we would squirt them on the table and light them on fire, and because it was like all alcohol, you couldn't see it.
The Brunson burners.
And then we would ask a kid to like reach over and grab it. And Anyway,
that
science class.
That's how we met. And
There's just so many stories like that.
How old were you when you guys got married?
20.
Okay, 20.
Yep, we're the same age. So
Both junior, senior prom.
Wow.
The whole thing.
Okay, so I got married at 21. I was late to the game.
Yeah.
My wife was a little bit older. What do you think about getting married so young today? Because I'm sure you've seen a lot of people get married young and it not work out.
Yeah.
What do you think about Christians marrying young?
I'm all for that.
I am too. I think it's incredible.
Yeah.
I think that
Same
it is a story that you cannot manufacture, that it's a picture of what the Lord intended to be the closest thing that we have to heaven on earth in covenant.
Whoa.
And
That's pretty great. That's why I keep looking at her. She's amazing.
yeah, I'm all for that. Is it obviously it's discerning and knowing, you know, like to not make it a hasty decision.
Yeah.
But we feel that what that has done for our journey is we now have like purity to pass down as a generational heritage.
Right.
It's our inheritance for our children. Well, does that mean they'll be perfect? Absolutely not.
Right.
Is that expectation? Absolutely not. But my inheritance from my father doesn't demand my perfection.
Right.
Right. So it's like, it's not based on them. We have it to give to them as an inheritance no matter what.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'm a firm believer.
I
in
am
it.
too. And like,
Did you date before anyone else?
just like,
Yeah,
youth
but we were
group stuff.
kids, right?
Yeah.
Because we met when we were 14.
Yeah.
So we each had like one other relationship really, but it was high school level.
Yeah, yeah.
So
I wouldn't even call it dating.
Okay.
There was a girl at our youth group that was my girlfriend.
So
As soon as I saw Summer, it was like, she's done.
my theory is this. I have a lot of theories. My theory is like, I never date anyone. And there's nothing wrong with that.
No.
Because anytime I
Right.
make a statement like this, everybody's like, you're the worst. No. I've never loved another woman. Like, I don't know what it's like to love another woman, to kiss another woman. Like, I don't even know what that's like.
Yeah.
And so when I get around my friends
Yeah.
that are telling me all their issues,
Yeah.
I'm like, I can't understand. I understand, I comprehend it, but I don't know what that's like. There's such a beautiful thing, at least for me personally.
Yeah.
And I don't know if you guys have the same, where it's like,
Yeah.
I don't know anything else.
Yeah, same.
There is no like dream of what it could be with someone else.
No
because
FOMO,
I've never
none
had
of
that
it.
with someone else. Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it.
I look at a lot of our friends who are our age or a little younger that are still single, and I'm just reflecting back on all the years we've had together. We've grown up together. We've changed so much, been through multiple seasons of just life, and we've done it all together. And we're, in some ways we're getting close to 20 years married, and it's like that is a lot of time. And like to think about like another peer, one of our friends is I think 35 and he's single, and he's starting. That's late to me.
Yeah,
that's a lot of life. Like, and I'm just like, I wouldn't want the opposite. I'm glad we chose the way we did, and I'm glad we made good choices. But we also did it with like strong parenting. Like Summer's mom and dad were exceptional. Like, and it was kind of their idea to go ahead and get married. Like, so they were seeing our course, our where we were headed in university, and we were about to move off to. Summer went to med school. I don't know if you know that.
You did?
She did a medical program. Yeah.
Was it like to become a doctor or like nursing or?
I wasn't sure. I didn't ever like go all the way to be a doctor, so I ended up doing respiratory therapy, but in the NICU, so neonatal ICU.
No way.
So I worked there for 8 years.
She's brilliant.
And what about you? Well, I know she's brilliant. That's obvious.
I had a pre-med biology degree.
Seriously?
So I took the MCAT and did all the thing, and then I was so tired of being a student. You know what I mean? Like I was tired of school, and I was like, I've done 4 years of university. I've got another 8 years.
Yeah.
And I couldn't be bothered. I was done. I couldn't imagine that I would enjoy that for another 8 years. I was ready to move on, and it wasn't really like a dream. You know what I mean? I was literally trying, what's the hardest thing I could do so that I can like prove my dad wrong or something. It was father stuff.
That is like a really big part of our story. It's like, because growing up, I was in a ministry home.
Yeah.
Great. Like, I had a great home. My parents were amazing. It's a journey though, different, a little bit different, but I was so dead set on, I will always do music and I will love Jesus until I can't. And then I'll still do it because I'll be with him face to face.
Yeah.
But I don't want to do music as a ministry, like for my vocation or to make any kind of money.
Why?
At the time I said, this makes what I'm doing not pure. Is that true? No, but that's been a journey I've had to walk out with the Lord. And so I didn't want anything that I did music related to be my sole way of income, because to me it linked it to, well, this is no longer pure. My offering is not pure. What I'm writing isn't pure, because it could sneak in this other motive of, well, I need to because we have to make money, or I'm gonna tweak the way I do it because it'll make more money. Those kinds of things. So I set out, that was my whole thing. So like, I'm going to college to get a job in something where I know 100% I'll have a job when I graduate. I don't want a job search. So I did medical. I'm like, let's do something in medicine. I'll have a job. And that's exactly what I did. And we contracted out and did music all through our 20s, but on the side, we worked with our degrees until we hit age 30, 29, between 29 and 30.
Should we answer that? I mean,
well,
people can.
Well, how old are you? I want to ask your wife.
We're 38.
I turned 39 in 2 weeks.
Come on. Dude, you're living in the best years of your life.
These are the best years.
These are the days.
Especially if you've been married that long. Like, you're really, like, it's very, very precious. I loved it when I hit 40.
Yeah.
I'm like, I literally am having this is real time processing with you, but I'm having this journey with the Lord right now. But every single day I have a moment, and I can almost audibly hear him say, these are the days.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yeah.
And it's like, I'm just hit in this, like, whatever's happening in that moment, it's like, I just stop and I'm like soaking it all in.
You're traveling the world ministering. You're raising 4 incredible kids around a community that loves them and is intimate.
Yeah.
And you're getting to do this amazing gift and calling on your life.
It's a dream.
It honestly, like, and then most people build from 40 to 60. That's like, at least in ministry, most pastors, that's their greatest years. And I see that a lot in actually other people. Maybe not worship leaders. No, I'm just kidding. I'm totally joking. So
the age thing, right? But no, so we hit like 29, 30, and the Lord was like, listen, you're really good at singing about how I have every part of you, or you fully trust me, or I fully have your yes, but you don't actually walk that out because you're still set up a system that you're fully dependent on.
Oh yeah, like I had a business. Did you know that? I ran a business in my 20s, and
was it T-shirts? No. You just look like a dude that makes T-shirts in his basement.
Thanks, bro.
He had a traveling jazz band.
I had a travel. No, we'll tell that story off air. I did have a jazz quintet.
What was your job?
My job. So I was a freight broker.
What?
We did everything we could not to be in ministry, Will. Like we ran from the Lord.
Well,
like,
we were good at it too.
I was a contract
say.
musician in Dallas, Texas for close to 10 years. I played, I think, for 22 different churches, different instruments, every Wednesday, Saturday, 3 times on Sundays.
Yeah.
Just a hired gun. And I justified, like, I'm giving, that's my service to the Lord.
Right.
I was getting paid a great salary to just be a contractor. Then I had my freight business. And I did that for close to 8 years. It was awesome. I loved every minute.
What just define what freight business
Freight
is?
shipping and logistics.
Like
anything
international?
everything. Anything on
So
a pallet.
the middle person.
I was a broker between a customer trying to ship a pallet of T-shirts, for example, to Pakistan.
I knew it had to do with T-shirts.
Yeah, I did ship.
Nailed it.
I'm just kidding.
My biggest client was a gun safe manufacturer. Actually,
Really?
I shipped every one of their gun safes around the world for 8 years. It was amazing. I loved it.
So how the heck did you guys end up doing worship full time?
Well, so the Lord starts speaking to us. We should tell the story. That's why we're here.
Because
I'll
I get
stop
pregnant.
asking questions.
Okay,
No, this is good.
Well, we get pregnant with our first child, 26.
Jude, our son.
Mm-hmm.
Our oldest is, he's almost 13. And we start having this little inkling of like, okay, I really do like having that church community was like a really big part of my life. Whether I'm like on staff or not, it was still very impactful and like shaping, right? So we started thinking differently, and like we do sort of want to have like that kind of community to be around our kids as they're, we're starting to have a bigger reason than ourselves to be involved. Then
that was our first step of faith into the ministry.
Okay.
Because the Lord laid it on our heart to join a local church plant, which was a Catch the Fire in Dallas. And so I quit all of my gigs, and we attended that church, and we were not going to tell anybody we played or sang.
we still had our other jobs.
I still worked my business. She was at the hospital. We just wanted to be there and just go deep in friendship and community. The first interest meeting we attended, they were like, hey, you guys look musical. What do you play? I'm like, dang it. So we volunteered as musicians and singers from day one. Leotard outfits with flags, streamers in the back. We'll do anything for Jesus. But no, we started there as volunteers, and we volunteered for a year, and the worship pastors that launched ended up moving on. And so then naturally they came to us, and they're like, would you guys like to be our worship pastors?
I'm literally remembering how I first heard about you guys.
I don't even know that story.
I actually just remembered it. Keep going.
Okay.
I'll just say the beautiful part of this section of the story though is like his gentleness in the leading. It wasn't like you screwed up through your 20s.
Right.
Now are you going to come fix it and do what's right? It was more like, this has been really great, but it'd be super cool if you wanted to really grab both of my hands and come like all the way.
I love that, because it's not like this encounter that led you into service. It's like, it was like it sounds to me like a maturation of your hearts.
Yeah.
And just a pulling of the Lord.
Even the way that we like wove into that local community was like, we were serving not on staff, and it felt so organic, so much so that by the time they asked if we would be interested in coming on part-time, it was like a no-brainer. And it was like we responded with a yes before my flesh could say, wait, what are you doing? It was like after the fact. I was like, oh, this is happening.
It was just a slow burn, slow maturation.
I love that.
You said, like we always, even to this day, like back then, we said we won't ever pursue a stage. We won't call anybody and ask to lead. We never did that. And every step along the way, it's always been, okay, you're already here, already kind of doing the thing. Now step up and do this, and then it just levels up or whatever for the rest of the time. So
we served in that capacity for a couple of years, and then it was like
that just opened up the door internationally. Like Catch the Fire.
You just cut your wife off.
I did.
I'm just kidding.
I'm sorry.
I really was into what Summer was sharing. I was like into it.
It's fine. It's not our
I
normal.
thought she was done. Sorry.
I'm just giving you a hard time.
Will Hart calls people out on
No,
his podcast.
I was like, I was there. I was
Yeah.
tracking. I was picking up what you were laying down, and then I wasn't.
Somebody asked earlier, do you ever, what is it? What did he say? Do you ever mansplain? I was like, no, I'd never do that.
I don't know what that is.
What is that?
What is it?
I don't see.
Listen.
She doesn't even know because
I don't either.
Do it.
I don't either.
Go ahead. Sorry.
I don't know what I was saying.
No,
It
you were
was
just
great.
talking about so you go from this serving the local church.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then-
I'm just laying the timeline out.
Yeah.
So the people don't, it's not always a over the night, like blinding light encounter
Right.
with the Lord that causes this shift. It is a daily choice of a yes
Yeah.
that actually builds the trust because it's different if he encounters you and he's like, come do this. Whoa, Holy Spirit.
Yeah.
He's
Lord,
like,
Lord of the Flies. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah.
if he encounters you and it's a overwhelming thing, then sometimes you almost have to go backtrack and put like scaffolding underneath
Right.
what's just happened
Right.
to hold up the encounter you've had
Yep.
so that it can endure like the race, right? Whereas like this other approach that he'll do is day by day.
Yeah.
Do you know me as daily bread?
Yeah.
Okay, you did so great, like come a little farther. So great, like come a little farther. And it's like,
Yeah.
could we have started when we were 20 and gone to ministry school and gone all in and our story looked totally different? 100%.
Yeah.
But that's not the point. That's what's so beautiful about Jesus is like the story is no less beautiful to him
Right.
because he'll relentlessly pursue you no matter how long it takes to get that full yes. And then even once you give the full yes, you have moments of question and I don't understand. I don't want to do this. This is terrible. Who are you? Where are you? Oh, wait. Yeah, I love you.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Like just all the humanness. But like that's why we can do what we do is because no one else could ever pursue you relentlessly like that, knowing that it'll still have to come back to that over and over again because it's just the journey.
Yeah.
So it's been like so amazing. I feel like in our 30s to like see this unfold with the Lord, it's been like a sweet dance, if you
Yeah.
will, like a waltz almost of just like seeing this orchestra play. I can almost hear it like play and this waltz and this dance is happening with us, our whole family, you know, even our kids. We need to get into that part of the story because it's been absolutely beautiful. But even seeing it go just from Chris and I, so gentle, like he's so gentle and he's so kind, all the way to the point of now with our kids, seeing his hand so tangibly rest upon our family.
Yep.
It's something, you know, like I know, you know, like you can't teach them. I can't teach them that. They have to experience him as that.
They have to.
And that is worth
Every freaking
Everything.
moment of it.
Come on.
Yeah. Yeah.
everything.
That's my biggest prayer. Lord,
Yeah.
let my children walk with you. Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, don't lean back.
There
I
it was.
apologize. Let my
Oh.
children walk with you and talk with you
Come on.
like every day. That's my biggest
Yeah.
cry. And when you see that, when you see God do it intentionally, when it's like without you,
It's so
there's
good.
nothing better.
They leave
Yeah.
my house and they can hear his voice.
Yeah.
That's the one goal as a parent, right? That's our one cry is that they leave our
We have
house and
many
know how to
more,
hear
yeah.
the voice of the Lord.
Yeah. That's
Period.
it.
Because you can mess everything else up. But if you can re-anchor with that
Right.
every time,
You're sorted.
Right.
Yeah.
every
which,
time.
which is kind of your story. You grew up knowing him, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Maybe not having the most powerful walk, but like you were with him. And I think what I love about that, and I do like, as you were sharing, so many Christians are out there and they don't think that their calling is, because they haven't had that moment, that come to Jesus moment. Like they've just walked with him
Yeah.
their whole life, and somehow they look at it as less.
Yeah.
I actually think it's more beautiful to say, like, I've just known him
Yeah.
yeah.
forever. Like since I can remember, I've just known him.
Yeah.
And I love that.
Yeah, me too.
I really, really do.
Yeah.
Let me, so I heard about you.
Okay, I want
I
to hear
remember
this.
from a mutual friend, Jerry.
Oh, Jer Bear.
Okay.
Jerry was singing your praises. He was like, you
Yeah.
gotta have them. Like, you gotta meet these guys. Like I think years before I ever met you.
Really?
Yeah, he was singing your praises.
Wow.
Like they're so freaking anointed.
Wow.
And, yeah, he was like for years.
We actually just saw him a few months ago.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's been a minute.
Yeah. And so that's when I first started hearing about you guys. And then I think we connected at a Global Awakening event.
It would have been Global, yeah.
Yeah.
That's how we got connected with Global is through the Catch the Fire connections, and then moved to Raleigh, and then Global hosted an event there.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think we met not long after that.
Yeah.
That would have been 2019. So we met like 2020 or 2021.
Come on.
We know each other for a few years now.
So you guys write, you
Yeah.
put out incredible worship, you
Thanks,
lead
man.
everywhere. I love whenever you guys are ministering. I just love it. I love
Thank you.
I
Thank
get
you.
to flow so beautifully underneath your ministry. It's such an honor. I need to ask you a question.
Okay.
Yep.
Pet peeves of ministers. Okay? No. Like, can we just have a conversation really quick?
No, I would.
And I want you to be honest. Okay? What are your biggest pet peeves in ministers that come in after, like, you guys are leading?
Yep. I'm so ready.
What's
Oh my
your
gosh.
What's your biggest pet peeves?
I'm ready.
But be
You go.
kind.
Uh,
And you
Oh,
can
yeah.
use me as the example.
we could always be kind, Will.
Oh no, because this is a pet peeve that's happened all over the world in multiple places. So
Because you have
there's-
two ministries, right? You have the
there's-
worshipers, and then usually it's like worship and then the main course.
right,
What I would say, worship is the main course.
which is a
would
riot
as
to
well.
me because yes,
Yes.
Yeah.
in eternity we won't be hearing a teach or a
Right.
preach. It will just be endless
Worship.
beholding. But anywho, that's not the question. So the pet peeve.
Because if I had to reverse that, like I'm up first and then worship, and like you guys have to come in and interrupt me, and you have to come in like with your song. I always think about this as I'm
Yes.
getting ready. As someone's like, go, like
Oh, man,
transition.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Fire away, babe.
So
Fire
my
away.
biggest, I think one of my biggest pet peeves, and there's no way you can tie this to any person or
Yeah.
one place because this is everywhere. It's literally happened.
hope.
I've never asked this question before.
It's literally
worship
happened anywhere you can think of, small or big stage, doesn't matter. Is when you've been, it all depends on how you lead too, like how you're leading a room. But for us, it's like when you have been stewarding the presence of the Lord in a room for an hour, however long it is, and then the minister comes up and they express to you that they have like a full comprehension and idea of where you should go at that point, and it's like
Yeah.
completely different, like
Yeah.
or even like a song, like a specific, like
Yeah.
this is exactly what you need to sing, and this is what we're going to do with it. And for me, like where my mind goes is
yeah.
like,
That's
this
rough.
would be so wild if this was flipped, because
Yeah.
what would it be for you, Will? Like if I
Yeah.
came up and was like,
You should preach
Will,
about this.
I know exactly what you're going to teach on tonight, and this is how you should do it.
I would not enjoy that.
Right. And
At
like,
all.
I've never felt angry about it. I always laugh because I'm
Yeah.
just like, it's almost as if like the people coming up can hear better or have a clearer vision.
Wow.
Right.
It's really like I love spending time with the worship leaders, like 'cause I just think they're awesome. But I also, I don't know, like I love flowing with people. So like I like to
Yeah.
get to know worship leaders and not just come in. Now it doesn't
Right.
happen every time, but like I really like to know people. I find that we can like flow better
Yeah.
together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I couldn't imagine if like somebody just came up to me like, preach this now. Like the wind's
Yeah.
on us. Like do this now.
This is where the Lord is.
But I've watched you do this.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
we do.
Remember with Heidi at the last event?
Oh, it was great.
Yes.
It was
But she's hiding.
But
hilarious.
listen, I was going to say the flip side.
beautiful way.
The flip
Yeah.
side of what I just
Yeah.
said is there is a beautiful thing that happens when there is relational equity, and it's a dance
Yes.
of stewarding what God is doing in the moment in the room together.
Come on.
Because there's a mutual honor in
Yeah.
preferring one another and yielding, submitting to the leadership and just what God and the Holy Spirit are doing in the room. So it's not that like, yeah, I want to make sure and be careful with that. It's not that it's
Yeah.
like you can't ever be
Yeah.
guided or told or
Yeah.
that nobody else would hear. It's all in the dance of it. And like leaders always get out of the way for leaders.
Yeah.
Good leaders do.
I was just in Australia, and we were doing a conference. Worship leaders came in, incredible worship leaders that I just met, whose names I can't remember right now, but that's because I'm jet lagged. Holly, I believe one was no, that was someone different, but it doesn't matter.
They're
incredible, like legit,
Yeah.
incredible. And we had dinner the night before the conference at the guy who was hosting its house. And we're having dinner, we're hanging out, and I got to meet the whole worship team. The next day we go to start the event. we're in the back room, and they go, we've never been in a room with the speakers.
Right.
Like, we've never had this before. And we were all so connected.
Yeah.
And she said, the worship leader and her husband made this comment, like, we don't get invited into the back rooms. We don't get invited to dinners with the speakers. And it broke my heart. It like broke my heart.
Yeah. That was going to be my pet peeve.
Okay, give it to me.
You killed it. You crushed it. It is two things. The green room culture. We've been in several, not this green room. Like, you know what I mean. You've been in green rooms.
Yeah, that's why I called this show the Green Room.
Which is where most of our interactions have happened.
Right.
That's amazing. No, where we've been in a lot of conference environments where there's a different green room for the speakers than the team. And usually the worship team is like a much less desirable area, much less private, not always with the same amenities and food or whatever to just have moments of silence and rest. And so that's a pet peeve of mine when they're not welcome in like a room.
Why do you think that is, though?
I don't know, because it's not just literally. I can remember back 20 years ago, the same thing was happening where I had to get up out of my seat backstage in the green room because the pastor was coming in, and all of the team had to vacate the whole room, had to be left empty for this guy to come in, to be alone. And I was like, that doesn't feel right. It's not family. So it's still kind of a pet peeve. The other was kind of what Summer said, is when somebody walks up on the stage and just is completely not connected at all. Right. Like they don't even acknowledge that you've just spent an hour beholding the Lord. They don't talk about it. They just go straight into like, all right, go find your chairs. I'm like, that to me, that like rips everybody out like of the spirit, like whiplash.
Yeah.
So
I would compare it to when I'm ministering and they're like, okay, it's 10 o'clock. We got to shut the building down. Everybody go home. Mm-hmm. And like, I'm about to pray for the sick, or I'm about to like, I really like, I know this is just killing me. And I'm about to, that.
Wait,
we're gonna get it. We're gonna get
this out.
Yeah, no, or we can leave it in. But like, there's nothing more frustrating. Not because I care. Like, I have this great thing to give. It's like, I just felt I had a moment of faith. Where I felt like God's gonna do something, and we had. You should watch the episode with Brian Welch. There was like, we were like invaded by fruit flies. It was just like, we're just like, just two ADD guys.
Yeah,
going crazy.
I get easily
honestly,
distracted.
You know what? Like, I feel like it's super frustrating, and sometimes you feel the emotion of it in the moment. But I think more than anything, like, my heart breaks because I think a lot of times it's just a lack of understanding of all that is available, like how the Lord would love to do something. It's more of like it's so siloed as opposed to just a woven together tapestry that can look different every single time. You know what I mean? And it's more of a what could have been, oh, that's a bummer. Kind of thing. Do you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, we go places and we like for it to be relational. Like that's like part of the one of the most fun parts about doing what we do. It's like we get to meet people, spend time with other people doing what we do. And we've been several places, and we have other friends that have also had this experience in the worship world where you'll get invited into a church by a minister and never have a conversation with that minister.
Right.
Like, they won't show up early. The most that you'll get is maybe a hello at the altar at the end of the service. And then you're out of there. That to me is weird. Like, it's strange. There's got to be more relational connection if we're going to do this together. At least for us, that's what I prefer. It's kind of a pet peeve. If that happens, I'm less likely to come back.
I like going to war with people that I know. You know what I'm saying? Like,
bro, you're the only guy, one of the only guys that I will do a fire tunnel for. I will come up at the end of a service.
I don't do fire tunnels.
Bro, yes, you do.
No, I don't.
That's what they're called.
I'm like, never mind. I am not a fire tunnel guy. That goes on the record. I need y'all to hear that.
Well, you line people up around the whole building.
That's not a fire tunnel. That's just a ministry line.
And you'll pray for every single one of them.
Yes.
And you ask us to come up and lead for 2 hours while you do it. I'll freaking do it every time.
Thank you.
Because it's... I'm about what you're about. It feels...
There's a partnering together and to accomplish in the moment and at that time what is available for that city. Like that's what we burn to do. Like
Yeah.
that's what we carry, is going and singing over cities
Yeah.
Yeah.
Come on.
to awaken the sons and daughters in
Yep.
those cities to come alive and release their own song.
Yeah.
Because I can come and sing over your city and prophetically declare things. If you stand up and sing over your city, it carries authority because you live here and you have roots here. So if I can come and partner with you in your city
Yeah.
and help you come to the place, if you don't know how, to behold him,
Yeah.
encounter him so that you can thereby reflect him,
Yeah.
release your sound. And your song doesn't even just mean a singer. Sound,
Yeah.
whatever your sound is and whatever you do, it's a sound to him though.
Yeah.
And that's what makes an area come to life and spring up with wells of living water.
Yep.
So when I'm saying partner, I'm not just meaning like ministry related.
Yes.
Of course I do. Like I want to partner. Like being in the ministry is an amazing and it's an honor of a lifetime.
Yeah.
But for us, it's bigger than that. I'm like, I'm here to partner with these people in this room that live here. Like God sent me here. That's what I pray every time I'm on a stage, whether it's for 20 or thousands of people. It doesn't matter. It's God, what is your sound and your song that's already being sung here?
Yeah.
Because I want to partner with that.
Yeah.
I want to release that over these people because that's what they're going to come alive to.
Okay. Help me with this, because that sounds a little like, I just want to partner with the sounds. Like, what does
Okay.
that even mean?
Okay, so
you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, let me
like,
give you
how do you-
let me
like,
give you
give me an
a
example.
tangible. So you know when you have a newborn baby, and as a parent, there are songs that you sing to your kids.
Yes.
And everybody
my
has
sunshine.
different
I
ones.
sang
Like
it over
whatever
my
your
kids.
song is,
Yeah.
like to your kid. Whether that kid knows it or not, at any point in their life as they get older, when that song is sung, something in them comes to life in a
Yes.
moment.
Yes.
Okay, so when a person is from a region or a nation or a city and has roots and heritage there, their spirit is having a song that has been sung over that land for all of eternity.
Yep.
And if I can partner with that melody and that song from a heavenly perspective, causes their spirit to stand up in a moment because it awakens to that sound of the Father.
Is that sound, would you say that that's like a local sound? Or would you say, like, I know you guys know Steve Swanson?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's like, Steve's been on like the earliest screen rooms. You can go back and see it. And one of the things I love about Steve is he will like, anytime we're in a nation, he will incorporate the sounds of the nation.
Right. Yeah.
Are you talking about that? Are you
Can
talking about
be.
like bagpipes in Scotland? Or are you talking about like, what does that even mean?
I personally would not be able to play the bagpipes,
You're
no.
a
But
killer.
Yeah.
Done it.
yes, to answer your question, yes. Like I think there is power in the native sounds of nations, 100%.
Yeah.
But it's also a sound. Your story is a sound.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay,
What does
so
that mean?
your story that you're walking out with the Lord, like we've just talked about hours for the
Yep.
last 30 minutes, it's a melody being written.
Yeah.
Sometimes you don't know it,
Yep.
but it's a melody being written. And it's the same for every person in their journey with the Lord, whether they know they're walking with the Lord or not, he's pursuing them. So it is a melody being written. And if I can create an atmosphere for them to, I can't lead someone in worship. Like to me, that's a crazy statement. But what I can do is I can lead them to a place where they can behold Jesus, where they can sit at his feet and have the opportunity to encounter him and thereby worship.
Yeah.
Because once you encounter him,
That's all you can do, really.
Yeah.
there's nothing, you can't help but do that.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's part of the beauty of like what traveling is, getting to see that come to life in sons and daughters all over the nation, all over the world, is seeing them come to the realization that, oh, this has been woven through every piece of my story. This is my song.
Yeah.
This is my life. This is my melody. His goodness is woven in every part of my story. His hope is woven into every part of my story. His redemptive, relentless love is woven into every part of my story.
Wow.
And so the sound, helping someone uncover their sound and release their sound, can mean multiple things, but it's so fun. Like it is a tangible sound, a song maybe, or is it just coming to behold him and understand that you have a story to be told? That's a sound.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, what you asked
No.
about the instruments and travel stuff. That's a bigger conversation and something we really hope we can talk about, but like seeing nations release sounds like native to their home, like what could the worship industry look like in the future if it's not all like...
First of all, should we have a worship industry?
Well, no, we don't want to get into that. Do we?
This is what you said. You brought it up.
Yeah, that's a big one.
Future worship industry.
I dream of a day where there are records being released for consumption where there's let's just pick any country, one of the stands where their worship sounds like them and it doesn't sound like us. And it has their instruments and it's not just a regurgitated version of American church.
Yeah.
And that would be something that could become financially viable so that they could afford to do that at a high level, because it would definitely contribute to a more well-rounded church, body of Christ sound on the earth. Instead of it being so much us taking it to them and then them just doing what we do, that's kind of backwards, isn't it?
Well, no, I love it.
It's a big combo.
It is. It is. And honestly, I am seeing it. I think maybe 10, 15 years ago, as I was traveling internationally, I was seeing a lot of like songs from the West in the spirit-filled charismatic Pentecostal churches, right? And they would just change the lyrics.
Yeah.
Now, like in Brazil, like they're writing
it's their own
stuff, you know, and it sounds like them. You know, in India, I have a buddy that just put out a song with a group in India that's like Indian.
It's them.
It's them, and it's worship, and like, man, it's hard for me to get into, but I see God on it because I see people like worshiping.
Right.
To it. You know, South Africa, like you get there's a rhythm. Even in Mozambique with our. We've put out a couple of albums. It's James. It's on some of our media, right? Like some of the worship that comes out of Mozambique, and it's awesome. Like it really is awesome because it is the sound from there. So I think times are changing.
They're changing. Yeah.
They are
good. Yeah. So that's where we're going. In
I
the
love
future.
it.
And you know,
so what's y'all sound?
Oh boy.
We're working on a project right now.
Yeah.
That is basically a conglomeration of songs of testimony. So testimonies of our stories, our God stories.
Our God stories, yeah.
And we're not fully settled on the title of the project, but it will be something like Our Story. Because especially in the circles that we run in, so much gets fixated on the prophetic side of things, which, you know, like you've been with us in a room, like I'm all about it. Like I love prophetically singing, releasing what I feel the Lord is saying over a region or even a person individually. Like it's powerful. But I feel like the temptation is to get lost in the prophetic swirl and not know how to live on daily bread. And the Lord challenged me 2 years ago. So this has probably been the last 4 years has been, we say, the most brutally beautiful 4 years we've ever had. Our highest highs, our lowest lows. Yeah. So I'm just giving you that in context for some of the conversations I've had with the Lord, because I have grown up with the Lord, I will talk to him just like this, you know. And if I'm like really upset about something, I'm just like, you know, this is crazy. Like this isn't at all what you said. Yeah. And I've given up you know how you do. You're like lamenting with the Lord, and he says, Summer, you've spent your whole life focused on all the words you've received and where you think those words are taking you, that you don't know me today and you don't know how to let me be enough for today. And if I'm not enough for you today, I wouldn't even be enough for you if you get to where you think those words are taking you. So I've spent these 3 years on this journey, specifically the last 18 months, I feel even more for our family, of truly coming to know him as daily bread. And not just, sometimes that's been tangible, like provision. Yeah. And sometimes that is redefining how I know him and coming to feast on his presence. Not as a discipline, but as a hobby. Like I wouldn't rather do anything else, because you're more than enough, not because I've been told to say that my whole life, but because I literally can't live without your presence. Yeah. Like you're the first thing I think of in the morning and the last thing I think of at night when I lay down. I can't imagine my life without your presence. I can't imagine any facet of my life without your presence. And almost moments of like, when David's like lamenting in the Psalms, like, God, please don't remove yourself. God, please, of which he wouldn't, but almost feeling like that depth of coming to be so dependent on him that it doesn't matter what comes and goes in the other areas of our life.
Yeah.
And so that has been really hard, but also rewarding, like a newfound freedom. We were just talking about this with a friend a little bit ago, but it's like we are more free than we've ever been.
Yeah.
I used to get frustrated with the statement of joy and suffering, because I'm like, how am I supposed to get Jesus, like people to want to come be in love with you? Like, that's a horrible statement, like the world has enough
suffer with me.
suffering. The world has enough loss and trauma and all of these things. Like, what kind of statement is that, And literally just this past year, I feel like I hit a new revelational point with him. And he's like, Summer, it's not trials and tribulations because I think that you need to test. He's like, what the journey is you get to a place where you're really dependent upon me, and then things get more comfortable, and then you start to sort of build out from that your own things that you're doing because something's working well. Then all of a sudden you're less dependent on me, and you're more dependent because you've sort of you're now sustaining what was birthed by me, but now you're sustaining it. And I don't want you to have to carry the burden of sustaining anything, because you weren't made to sustain anything. I wasn't made. You weren't made to sustain the plans of the Lord. We weren't made to even understand them, to figure them out, to execute them.
Yep.
We take that upon ourselves, though, because we're hardwired to do that in our society. And he's like, all I'm doing is, he said, and I'll relentlessly do it until I can't anymore, is giving you the opportunity to not have to live like that. If I strip all that away and you have nothing left but me, then you don't carry all of it anymore. Yeah. And it becomes like this, he's just pursuing me. It's like this love affair of like, oh, you're not testing me. You love me so much that I don't have to carry this. I don't have to make this plan and carry it out. Yeah. So it's like go ahead.
Yeah. No, so it's like, what's the joy and suffering sound like? What does that joy sound like?
Do you guys know that's two of our core values at Iris?
I think I just read it on the back of
it's
hoodie.
on the back of my hoodie. We will suffer for him if necessary.
Yeah.
That's our second core value, or a third. And then our fourth is, but joy is not an option. We drink from the cup of joy and suffering.
Come on. Yeah.
Because in honestly, when you, first of all, none of us get to escape suffering.
Right.
It's not if you suffer, it's when you suffer.
It's the thing we have in common.
It is when you suffer.
Yeah.
Is the joy of the Lord your strength? Yeah. So like when we found out Moosey had cancer, like the second time, we drove up here into the woods and we worshiped, because we only had that one moment that we could give him worship in the middle of like, oh my God, everything's falling apart. Are you going to die?
Right.
Like we actually had that one moment to give him joy in the midst of the chaos. There's something very beautiful about that.
Right. Before there was like a plan made, right? Before there was
it's like,
let's try and figure this out.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's the sound, I think, of our project we're working on. Whatever that sounds like.
Recounting the stories that we, over the last 3 years.
Yeah. Telling a story. That's where we're headed.
I love that. So how do you do that? How do you tell that story? Like, what does that look like?
Well, you got to revisit a lot of places that, things you've been through, a lot of the testimony, good and bad.
Yep.
You got to go back there.
Which is the Psalms.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And not relive it like because you've been through it, but just remember it and write it down. And it can bring up a lot of emotions that, for me, one of the songs that's going to probably be on the album is a song called Our Story that I actually wrote when my mom, like a month before she died of cancer.
Yeah.
And it was in a, RTF, those guys.
Oh, yeah.
We were both in an RTF, and it was like such a blessing to have that like right before she passed. Yeah. And the Lord gave me that song, or at least my part of that song in that moment.
Yeah.
And so, every time I sing it, and now that we're going to probably do a new version of it, it's already out with a couple different artists, but now we're going to get to do our version of it. It's just kind of like you go back to that time period. And when you think about it all, like for me, revisiting it just brings me joy.
Yeah.
It doesn't, I don't get sad. I don't, you know what I mean? It's just like, oh, what a blessing that season was.
Yeah.
So it's kind of fun going backwards and telling a story. But
Come on. There's something that you guys carry that a lot of people I know don't.
Ooh.
It's very rare. And that's husbands and wife in ministry together. But in worship together is even differently than I think in ministry together. You very rarely see husbands and wife. I mean, they're out there,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, yeah.
But it's not as common as it's usually like there's one worship leader and their
Yeah.
spouse is on the side, and that goes men and women, right? Like Steph's been here.
Yeah.
Her husband
Right.
is a builder or an architect,
Yeah.
and she goes off and there's so many like Martin Smith, like his
Yeah.
wife isn't a worship leader. And then you have these people that do it together, but it's rare that you see husbands and wives come together. What's the difficulty?
Well,
Because like I can't work with my wife
Okay.
it's been a journey, hasn't it? Like
outside of
it's-
our
It's not always easy to work together because if you look at Summer and I, you'll see two completely different people that would take, if the end goal's here, we're going to take
Yeah.
completely different routes to get to there. And both would probably work independently.
But
of
you
each
don't
other.
see that when you guys lead.
No, it's, we get that a lot. A lot of questions about that. A lot of people comment about that. I trust Summer's leadership, and it's obvious she's got history with the Lord. And sometimes for me, I very much I don't view her always like as my wife on the stage. You know what I mean? It's
Right.
like another amazing worship leader that's one of my favorite in the world.
Wow.
So there's a respect and an honor. And it's not like
That's
I
so
have
sweet.
to, I don't have to like think, man, am I going to have to come in at any point and like,
Yeah.
I can worship because I know that it's in good hands. And I hope she feels the same way, but I would let her say that so everyone
What's
can
it
hear
like like worshiping with your husband? Because it's so intimate. And
It
like,
is.
do you guys ever fight?
Yeah.
And then go up on stage?
People used to look at us and they say,
100.
they'd be like, you guys stare at each other so much during
100.
worship. It's so awkward. I'm like,
It's funny and it's also just very real. Like, it's exactly what you just said a minute ago about you had that one moment to go up in the woods and worship.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's obviously a much more intense scenario.
Yeah.
But for us, we had to learn because I used to feel like we just like had this argument. Like, I am not feeling
Yeah.
spiritual at all.
yeah.
And I'm not the kind of person that can fake. I'm like, if I'm not feeling right, I ain't going on that stage. Like, I ain't feeling right. Like, I'm not going to come up here and lead, And that's that I had to journey that out with the Lord. But we had to learn, like, actually, we have this one moment
Right.
to offer to Him
Yeah.
our sacrifice of praise when I ain't feeling it.
Yeah.
And that's just how good He is. Like, He overtakes the room and resets,
Yeah.
what are you beholding at the moment?
Yeah.
Resets your priority.
Yeah.
It's funny though. Like, I mean, Chris is, we joke, but we call him the starter. Chris is,
What?
What does that even
Chris,
mean?
I open worship sets.
Okay.
this is a
I
compliment.
do all the hard work.
No,
Sorry.
This is
You
a
plow.
compliment.
Plow.
This is a compliment.
Go ahead.
Chris is very good at, no matter like where we are or what the room is like, at just busting the atmosphere wide open.
Yeah.
So it's
Thanks,
like
babe.
super easy. Whereas I just sort of live at His feet, and that's not always it is always a good place to start. But sometimes when you're in a larger scale room, I just feel like He's really gifted at busting it wide open. And then it's like, all right, now I'm like, I call them my spiritual radars are up, and I'm like, all right, like, what is the Lord doing in the room? Are we doing healing? Are we doing deliverance? Are we doing all of it? Are we just sitting at His feet? Are we just staring at His eyes? Are we whatever like the Lord would love to do in the moment?
Yeah. Where are we going? I would 9 times out of 10 defer to her in that. Like, what is God saying to these people? What does He want to do in this moment? Like, through trial and error of us both trusting each other to do things and lead, I would say I would defer to her leadership in those kinds of intimate moments where, it can really go either way. Ministry-wise, might break out in the room. Healing might pop off. And
We've also learned to not fear the quiet or the waiting. It's super important, especially in like young worship leaders. We see a lot is there's a real hesitation of what are people thinking of me if it's quiet for too long.
Oh, I hate that.
Right?
Dead quiet.
Yeah.
I get so
I'm
nervous.
so glad I know
Yeah,
that now.
I legit, it's when I have two pet peeves. Worshipers not worshiping. It'd be like, what if I went up to preach and I didn't say anything? Which I've done. Or when they talk in between songs.
Oh yeah, so that's not okay.
Talking in between songs makes me so like itchy.
Yeah, it's awkward. It's something we don't
This is me.
often do.
Yeah.
No, I'm on that same page with you. We don't talk a lot at all unless there's like some, doing stuff with Global. It's like there's word of knowledge or something in the atmosphere because of who's in the room, and it's like gonna happen.
For me, the waiting is.
I just feel
I
awkward.
think that's so
Give
great.
It to me. Give
That's
it to me.
so great.
Tell me why I'm wrong.
Let us help you.
I think it is it shows it's a marker for maturity. Honestly, like being able to sit in the quiet. There's something about being able to sit in the stillness. The Lord challenged me last year. He said, "When's the last time you came to read the Word or pray or just whatever my time is with Him, and you didn't say anything?"
Yeah. That's my quiet time.
Touche. But I'm saying, so in a worship set though, I never feel, because I'm not there. I know this statement's thrown around a lot, but genuinely, I'm not there for anyone else.
Right.
I have zero pressure. Zero, absolute zero pressure. So I am going to sit there and I'm going to just sit in His presence because I want to hear what He's telling me to do.
Yeah.
Do we come prepared? Is it important to come prepared? 100%.
Yeah.
And we serve the room. We're there to serve, but He trumps everything.
Let me say this, because I think it's important. What I have a harder time with is when, like, people aren't engaging.
Yeah.
And they're like, "Oh, we just got to be quiet."
Right.
Yeah.
I think that's
No,
more.
bro, it's
like,
gotta be
it's not
obvious.
just it's
Like
not just silence. Like I love silence. It's when nobody knows what to do. There's no breakthrough, and they're like, everybody just get quiet.
That's
like
awkward.
I just want to flip tables and like hide and itch my.
Then we're not that different.
So and we actually teach that a lot. There's a constant. This is going on constantly when whether you're speaking or singing or whatever you're doing, teaching. This should be happening all the time. If I'm just doing this in our world, that's performance.
Yeah.
If I'm just doing this, you're just sat with me in my prayer closet.
Right. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
If there's this going on, then I can help facilitate you to a personal encounter with the Lord. They'll change your life.
Yep.
Yeah.
I want to throw out some names. Okay?
Yeah.
And I want you to tell me what you think of when I say these names.
Oh, we're doing this.
Yep.
Are we also going to do our top 5 favorite prophets?
Sure.
Save it
Okay,
for the
throwing
end.
out
Susie
names.
Wills. Do you know who that is?
Susie Wills. Yeah.
Don Potter.
Oh yeah,
Susie.
legend. Oh.
Tell me. Give me your thoughts. Don Potter's is Susie Wills. Yeah.
So Susie Yar.
I'm sorry, Susie.
From Morningstar. Morningstar. Yes.
Morningstar.
Okay.
That's better.
man.
Morningstar.
Okay.
Like I'm talking early 90s
Pioneers.
Morningstar. Yeah.
Legends.
100%.
Were you into them?
Oh yes,
Yes.
bro. He absolutely. When Don, he would turn around and face the wall.
Yep.
Oh my gosh.
Come on.
He's got all these. Oh yeah. I'm speechless. He's a legend. And
Who are some other influences on you guys?
Jason Upton.
Oh my gosh. Okay, can I tell you the best Jason Upton story ever?
Yeah.
Please.
I moved back from Paraguay. I was 19. And I went to the Send Boston. The Call Boston. This was before the Send. So this is 2001 maybe?
All right.
The Call Boston. I just came off the field. And I had the nastiest Birkenstocks that my mom had given me, and I was wearing them like just
Were
raw.
they the closed-toed ones?
No. But they could have been. It was awful.
Geez.
It was just like a bog.
Oh.
And I've been walking around those things for 3 years in the streets of Paraguay.
Oh man.
Come back. I land. It's like 2 days later. The Call Boston. I go to it. There's like a crowd of 25,000 people.
Yeah.
And Jason gets up.
Come on.
And I'd never heard anything like that
Oh.
in my life. And I'm just like, who is this guy?
We love you, Jason.
Legit, who is this guy? And he's praising and worshiping, and Lou Engle gets up on stage. He's like, we need to cry out for fathers, and yeah. And he's like, everybody surround yourself with a father or a mother. And I was there by myself. And so people start gathering up, putting hands. And he's like, if there's someone here that doesn't have a father or mother, raise your hand. And
Jason.
I raise my hand. And Jason's playing in the background, I forget which song, but early one, or from his first album. And Lou Engle hops down stage and runs to the crowd and drops his hands onto my nasty feet and starts bobbing until he smells it, then turns away and then runs. But Jason Upton and Lou Engle and I had a moment in the spirit realm
dude.
with my funky feet.
Will you
at
touch
the
us?
Nope,
No.
it's not happening.
Okay.
But I, very quickly after that, I drove to Toronto with my family, and I had his, what is
This is
that
01,
album?
so then
It's like 01, 02, something like that.
the meetings are still going on.
What meetings?
The nightly meetings of Toronto?
Yo,
Is that
I
what you're talking
probably,
about? Yeah.
but I wasn't there for that. I was there for family stuff.
Okay.
And I was sitting and I had my Discman,
Heck yeah.
and I'm in the back seat of my minivan, and holy laughter hits me in the back of the minivan, and my whole family been there, and I was kind of new, charismatic, I'd never been around my sisters before, and they see me like that, and I'm in the back of the minivan driving through Canada, and laughing for an hour and a half in the back seat. My parents thought I was drunk. They didn't know what was going on. Jason Upton marked my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Same.
We have a pretty.
That was a long story. I'm sorry.
And he can juggle really well. If you've ever seen Jason juggle, he's a great
But I bump into him.
juggler. Is that what it is?
I will ask him.
Anywhere, we just have some stories too. But he probably influenced us more than any other worship leader.
Really?
Outside of Summer's dad.
Same for you?
Yeah, he's definitely in the top 5, maybe even 3.
3, yeah.
For sure.
Who am I not mentioning that you guys need to mention?
Oh gosh, there's too many. Hang on.
Probably Rita Springer.
Oh my goodness. I was listening to her yesterday.
Yeah.
It's gonna be worth it.
Right?
Come on.
There's something that
Rita
was.
only lives a couple miles from
I
here.
know.
And she's going to come in and
We've
do
never
this.
met Rita.
Really?
And we've been with her at an event.
We've done some stuff, but we haven't really
Just never met
hung
her.
out.
She's definitely top 5 as well.
She is incredible.
Yes.
To me, her melodies translate undivided, pure devotion, single-minded. I mean, it's that's what I feel and hear anytime I listen to any of her stuff. It's
Yeah. And it's unique.
Yes.
There is no duplicate.
No. And there's
Just
such
like
a
Jason,
None.
there's no duplicate.
One of a kind.
it's such a rawness.
Mm-hmm.
Even though some of her stuff can be sung corporately, in a church gathering, it's still so raw and so you can tell she has looked at the face of Jesus.
Yeah.
When you're listening to the music.
Oh, yes. Come on.
We what's the song? I don't understand your ways, but I give you my all. Whatever it is.
Yes.
What is
I forget that melody.
It's been a long day. Hang on.
But you're holding me closer, drawing me into your ways.
Yes.
So we had in Mozambique, my sister was raising a child that passed, and that song was played on the soundtrack to her memorial, and I can't hear that song without weeping. It was literally exact words to that season that we were all going through. Yeah.
And that is what marks you, isn't it? When
Yeah.
you are listening to music, whether it's worship music or any kind of music, it's when something resonates, when you're walking through something in your life, and it's they're putting words to what you're walking through.
Yeah.
There's this forever, almost soul marking.
I can go back
Yeah.
to the moment when I hear Jason, come on, I'm there. I'm 18.
Yes.
And I'm remembering the encounters that I have with him. There's few things that can
Yes.
do that. I just listened to, I went to a POD concert,
Oh,
and I
yeah.
started
Yeah.
weeping at the concert. And I know it's not worship, but it is
It is.
It is it marked, it was a song of a time in my life, and I can immediately go right back there.
Yes.
It's funny how music does that. All of it.
There's nothing else that does it. Maybe
No.
food does that for me. I can just remember
There's certain songs come on and
That
every
might just be
lyric.
because you're in the middle of a fast.
Oh, Lord Jesus, help us.
Are there any other? And I actually like this. The reason why I'm asking you this question is I think there's a generation out there that all they know is the stuff that they should know. It's their time.
Sure.
But are there other ones that you like have really impacted you?
Summer's dad.
Tell me about that.
Can I tell about your dad?
Sure.
He's one of my favorite of all time. He's who taught us coming up what we know about the presence, getting into the river, as they say, and the spontaneous worship. Like, I knew nothing of that before we met. I started actually playing drums for him at 16 years old. And he just worshiped, man. It was pure. And he bounced around. We called him Tigger because he just bounced around the stage. And I'd never seen that. Like,
that was one of Rollins' nicknames.
Tigger?
Really?
Yeah. Summer's dad's an OG. Most people wouldn't know his name, but he's a legend for sure in the worship world.
They went to Christ for the Nations, my parents, and my dad traveled with Living Praise, which was a traveling like praise team basically back in the 80s with Christ for the Nations. And yeah, I remember like as a kid, he would wake us up in the morning just like praying in the Spirit,
singing
loud. Like, I mean, of course, as a kid, you're like, Dad, like seriously, like stop being so weird. You know, like I remember thinking those thoughts out loud, but he'd be like, if I ain't hear your prayer language, you're praying loud enough. He'd be like, get up out of the bed. And he's like, literally like, and he was so calm about it though. Like it wasn't like a forceful thing, like
Casual.
just cooking dinner out at the grill, just praying in the Spirit all the time.
Steph mentioned this the last time she was here, that she grew up in her dad was a pastor. Yeah. She just grew up around the word, around the presence, around like a constant, like, this is who we are as a family. And she's passing that on to her kids. As long, there's something so beautiful about that.
Yes.
I mean, if you come to our home, a lot of what we do is because we saw it done in their home.
Right.
Just the worship of the Spirit, the presence of God.
What's your father's name?
Blaine.
Blaine, let's go.
I love Blaine.
There's something so important about cultivating what it is that you do at home.
Yeah.
So we do a prayer set at home every week. We call it daily bread. But the whole point is if you're not leading yourself in it, you won't ever lead anybody else. It's cultivating it at home.
That's a good word.
It is really good.
And whenever, like that's when we're stewarding like a group of people, whatever that looks like, it's like, well, we want to be able to flow like that. Are you doing it at home? You can't do this and then when you get on a stage think that you're going to lead a room in a prophetic, spontaneous encounter with the Lord. Are you doing that at home?
Yeah.
You asked earlier how we cultivate leading together.
Yeah.
We do it at home. When no one's around, we're worshiping, we're leading, and we're not practicing anything. It's not like we're trying to write a song and we're like rehearsing for a set that we're doing. We're literally what you see us do on the stage. We're literally doing that in our living room.
It gets easier and easier to just sometimes know where you're going. Like you just are in sync. And I don't know how to explain that.
We had a pastor friend ask us one time, he was like, I'm trying to figure out I want my kids to value the presence of the Lord, but I don't want to shove it down their throat.
Yes.
Right? This was the context of the
It's not a bad
conversation,
question.
right?
Fair enough.
And I say, you know what? I was like, I mean, our oldest child is just about to be 13. So, I mean, we're just right in the middle of it. But I said, what I have found so far is we constantly have music on, even at night. Our kids always have it on in their room, even at night. Sometimes it's soaking music. Sometimes it's a worship song, but it's instrumental. It doesn't matter. And I said, what I found is they may not always notice what is happening in the moment, but they notice when it's not there.
Yeah.
You're creating an appetite in their spirit to hunger for the things of the Lord, to hunger for the presence of the Lord. It's the same when we're just hanging out with the Lord and worshiping at home and going back and forth spontaneously. We're cultivating our appetite to do that with him more and more. So it's just staying faithful and consistent, like in the day-to-day of doing that. It has to be the norm.
Yeah.
It's the only way.
I was just in Australia and we were in somebody's house and they were playing worship like YouTube in the background.
Yeah.
And my son came up to me and he was like, I knew almost every song that was on there.
Yeah.
Because mom plays that. And it was stuff from 5-6 years ago.
Yeah.
And it shocked me.
Yeah.
Because I would have never expected that he was actually
Listening.
engaging with it.
100%.
He's like, I knew
Absorbing it, really.
yes.
Well, the reality is half the time they're like arguing or
Right.
yelling about something or
Or
throwing.
I'm throwing some.
Right? I mean, it's crazy. Our kids are 12, 10, 8, and
Yeah.
3. So just
It's
like to give you
noisy.
context, I mean, it's wild. You know, I mean, our house is not quiet. We're not quiet people. Our house isn't quiet. So you're not sitting there thinking like, we're not just walking around having holy moments
Right.
that you would
But they're
perceive.
so holy.
But they are. Oh, they so are.
So we had this prophet, speaking of Rita was leading worship at this event, and we were 15 years old back. This is a long time ago. And this prophet was with her, I think from Morning Star. I don't know the guy's name, but he called us out on the front row, and we're just sat there, 15, 16. He looks at me and goes, when you meet your wife, you'll know immediately it's her. That had already happened.
Yeah.
Okay. And then he goes, and you're going to have a lot of kids, and your home's going to be wonderfully chaotic. That's how you describe a home right now. And then the third part hasn't happened yet. He said, and there's something on your life in Africa. I said, okay. So we're still waiting on that. But he's 2 out of 3 is not bad. And there's still time
not
for that
bad.
third.
There is.
But wonderfully chaotic. And it's just this wild, beautiful thing. But
all that to say, I think it's just like, just don't
Yeah.
discount what seems like the little things and the simple things at home, whether it's to do with like your marriage, your kids, your group of people that you're discipling, your team. It's the little things of just cultivating the appetite for what should be every day, the norm. Can't live without his presence.
Yep.
you asked a question earlier about industry, worship industry. And now you've asked a question about like who are our like fathers and mothers.
Yeah, like I love that because you can pick it up in some of y'all's worship.
Yeah, like,
and that's why I was like, man, Morning Star. Like,
Yes.
yeah,
100.
Yeah, lots of Bethel, early days Bethel, a lot of Morning Star, a lot of elements of IHOP, like because Chris Dupre, like,
oh yeah,
love that guy.
Yeah.
There's just elements of all of it, and you pick it up when it's worth picking up, and you leave down what's not worth picking up.
Yeah.
But for us, the biggest thing to answer that question, if it's okay to go there,
you can do whatever you want.
It's your podcast, it's your show.
I forget that sometimes. No, I'm just kidding. Just go for it, man. It's just a conversation.
No, I know the industry side of things is we reflect back to fathering and mothering a lot because it has such a massive impact on us. And so everything we do, like there's a part of us that wants to honor well a legacy that we're carrying, even if we never met Rita. Like there's something she pioneered that's ours to carry and then leave for the ones coming after us.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest thing when you say, do we need a worship industry? I say, yeah, we need an industry. We've got to have some mechanism to release music.
Define industry. I think terms are important.
Terms are really important, and I don't know that I have the complete.
Okay.
To me, in my head, I would separate genre and industry.
Okay.
Should we have a worship genre? That's dangerous.
Okay.
That's that in and of itself.
See, I would flip it, but keep going.
The industry to me is, all right, there's a man-made system that distributes music.
Okay.
And yeah, there's money attached to it, but the genre is the more dangerous part where the money's crept in. I think,
loathe
and it's
that statement.
Yeah,
Like
genre of worship.
a pet peeve.
It's
Why?
Because worship should infiltrate every genre.
Yeah.
Worship's not a genre.
Everything is worship. Yeah, so
Worship should infiltrate all these genres. This is the problem is we have siloed and defined a certain sound as worship. And that's absolutely
it's dangerous
ludicrous.
because we've taken away our generation maybe, or the ones just ahead of us have taken away permission for creatives to go create.
Well, one of my favorite worship leaders, and people not like what I'm about to say, is Tommy Green from Sleeping Giant and Holy Name.
Yeah.
Different, like, heavy music.
Yeah.
I actually, like, enter in with him.
Yeah. Wow.
I do. I really, really do. Is that what you're talking about? Are you talking about, like, music style, or are you talking about...
I enter in sometimes to Dave Matthews.
Dude, how can you not?
I feel
Christmas
I feel the anointing on some of, how you
Okay, that's weird. We need to talk about this. I would agree with you.
But it's language, right? It's like you throw words around and then you have to be very specific.
Parse this out. Like my son and I just went and saw him. He gave it to me for Christmas. That's like the fifth time I've seen him live. I grew up with Dave.
It's amazing.
Yes, and like the conversation is like he is a worship leader.
Yeah.
Imagine if it was sanctified.
Right. Yeah.
Like imagine if they were sanctified, right? if he met Jesus? Like Christmas song is about Jesus, right?
Yeah.
Like,
well, Bartender's my favorite Dave song.
Man, it's really good.
I feel God like when I listen to that.
Yes.
I just feel God.
Okay, so is that bad?
I don't think so at all.
Help me.
I think God transcends all of it. He transcends our understanding of what's actually happening, right? Like he's so much bigger than our finite ability and the way we like to compartmentalize things and put people in silos and to say this is allowed, that's not allowed. In a room with a bunch of people that don't know God, that God desires to meet through what I would call an anointed vessel, whether he's partnering with God or not knowingly, because the anointing doesn't go away. If you're an alcoholic and in sin, you're still anointed. We've led worship with some of those.
Yeah.
And they move a room and the anointing's strong and their life is completely and utterly not pointed towards God at all.
So what are you trying to say?
What I'm trying to say is God's bigger than all of that. He's bigger than a moment. He's bigger than where a person is or isn't. He's bigger than even their intentions on using their gifting that he's given them. So Dave could be up there on stage, so creative, so brilliant, so musically capable, and deliver something that God can just ride on and partner with to meet somebody who may or may not encounter him in that moment that nobody will ever know. It's not up to us to always know every person that's getting moved by God. That's his job. That's the Holy Spirit. It's like we put out our prayer sets. I don't know who's going to hear them.
Yeah.
Sometimes I might not ever know, but every once in a while I get a message of somebody that I don't know or never will meet that met God through something that was released. And so I would say it's the same with people like Dave, and it's worship.
In the beginning, God
was
created.
Yeah.
No,
yeah. Yeah. In the beginning.
That's it. That's
God
in there.
created.
In the beginning, God created. Like he is the most creative. He is creativity.
He is.
That's
Creator.
the first thing he did.
Yeah.
So he's in creativity. I think the line that would offend people about like someone like Dave, right, is he is definitely worshiping himself or something that's not God.
Yeah.
And so how could that be a holy offering?
Well, how's that any different than what we do sometimes in our church gatherings?
Explain it.
Like
I get you, but
yeah, oh, it's worth explaining.
Help others understand.
I will. Yes, you're right. We are leading. We're responsible for what we say. But celeb culture, right now, currently in the worship industry, it's so mixed with like performers and celebs, and everybody's got these anointings and giftings, but not everybody's worshiping Jesus when they're performing in our Christian gatherings.
How do you know?
Well, I have privy to some behind the scene conversations, and just I know a lot, and I don't say that to say I'm smarter, but I just know details, and I've been on stage with people that were seeking gain, self-centered self-gain, that could care less whether or not people met with Jesus, but were leading worship at a conference where people were there to meet with Jesus. Yeah, I've seen some crazy stuff. We've walked through some wild stuff. I feel like I'm about to be in trouble online. So
why?
I don't know. It's real. It's real, and that's the thing.
Your
is
experience.
The line between secular and sacred, the line between who's anointed, who's just gifted, the line between who's actually a worshiper or who's a performer isn't always obvious. It's not always clear. It takes discernment. And that's the danger. And that gets me back to the original point of genre, is become something very repeatable because men know how to build structures. They know how to make things work. God gifted us to be able to do things that work, mechanisms that work. So we know how to write a song that sounds like the previous 10 songs, and it'll work because it's structured appropriately to work. And anymore, we've gotten so good at that. It used to be that it would take, God will take a song and it'll go around the world because God's on it. That still happens. I'm still convinced that only God can do that, except for the fact that we've gotten so good at building our structures and the systems work so well that a song can go around the world that maybe God's not even feeling.
Wow.
It's not always obvious. That's what I'm saying. I don't have the answer, but I just know that it's just a reality that needs shifting.
Yeah. So whose responsibility is it to shift that?
You're doing so great.
Am I doing great? I feel...
Because we could talk about it needing to shift.
Yeah. I think it's we all have a part to play. So it's my responsibility.
Yeah.
To a degree. I have a part to play with whoever God chooses to bring across our, periphery vision or whatever, our influence, whatever you want to call it.
Yeah.
I have a job to steward what he's asked me to do really well, and to constantly check myself, to have
I love it.
fathers and mothers that check me. They
I love
can
it.
call me and say, hey, something's off. Like, I know Chris, and I know that that's off.
Right.
If you don't have that,
That's important.
So important.
you can get off. And it's not always easy to know when you're even just one little tick off.
Yeah. It's community. That's
Yeah.
why we need community in the church and the body of Christ, the ecclesia.
Yeah.
You're smirking.
Can
How do you
I-
feel? Do you feel awkward right
I
now?
do.
Why?
Just the way you look at me makes me blush.
I
No,
love.
No, it's great.
So I would agree with you. Okay.
Yeah.
Like I have praised God listening to Dave.
Yeah.
And I know that's not, and I've never said that out loud, but I have. So I would
Well, it's
totally
easier, yeah.
agree with you.
Yeah.
Oh, it's the power of music and sound.
Yes. And I've had more than one conversation with my son who's very much into music. So
Yeah.
I've gone down this
Same,
journey
same,
with him.
yeah.
Okay. And like I can see God in the creativity and the excellence and the power and
Yep.
I think part of, you said, what can we do to restructure?
Yeah.
I think a big part of it is redeeming creativity.
Yes.
Are we called to do that?
I feel like I shouldn't say I feel. I know that that's part of our assignment.
Yeah.
Is to create opportunities
Mm.
for that to happen for creatives. So creating comes from your ability to dream.
Yeah. Gosh.
And I asked the Lord, I said, well, why aren't people dreaming? He said, well, when do you dream, Summer? I said, when I sleep. He said, yeah, but people don't rest.
Mm.
Yeah.
Rest is actually, I mean, you know this, but I mean, it's actually one of the most powerful mechanisms of warfare and praise.
Yeah.
It's to rest no matter what.
Yeah.
It doesn't literally mean sleeping,
Yeah.
but it's an internal
Yeah.
resting and peace, a resolve.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's when you can dream.
Yeah.
And when you can dream, you can create. So what we've got is generation of people who are so wounded from just journeys of life. They don't rest. They can't rest. There is no internal resolve of his goodness because, quite frankly, they're not resolved that he exists. So there is no rest. They don't dream.
Yeah.
Thereby the creativity is not anything like it should be or
Yeah.
could be.
Yeah.
And like you said, he is creativity.
Yeah.
So I think
Yeah.
creating the opportunities for people to just absolutely get submerged in the presence of the Lord. And I don't mean like just having church service,
Yeah.
but to where they can truly become a son and a daughter, to know who they are so they can rest.
Yeah.
Then
Love
they
that.
can dream again. Then you're going to see creativity come alive.
Yeah. You're insanely creative. You are. Not just in music, which you are. Like every time I see you have a new hair color style. I've never seen someone pull off neon more than you or better than you.
Yeah.
You live in like
Amen.
creative land.
Yeah.
Right. And you're not scared to take risk. And I
Right.
think as we were talking about some of the people that we were mentioning, like
Yeah.
Yeah.
the leaders, like they were pioneers ahead of their time.
Yes.
They really are. Morningstar was a pioneer way ahead of
Absolutely.
its time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Rita,
20
Way
years
ahead.
Yep.
and that's why like you can listen to their stuff now and it's like still
It hits,
insanely
yeah.
relevant and it hits hard.
Yeah.
And I think that's what we need. I think we need a courageous generation to step up and
Yeah.
do new things and try new things. And being out there on the front lines isn't always easy.
No.
It's bloody.
Yeah.
It's bloody.
But I love it. And I
You-
love creativity.
You process on the fly. Like
Mm-hmm.
we're walking a lot of this stuff out and we're talking about it now with you.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's a very ongoing thing that is
Yeah.
being downloaded to us that I know we have an obligation to at least try to restore the permission to the creatives
Yeah.
within the church world.
Yeah.
That you actually have permission to do things outside of the worship genre.
Yeah.
And actually you can be blessed in that. And you have fathers and mothers that support you to go out and do that. I think that's a big part of that's like step one, I think.
Yeah. But well, I think the big part is you got to be a part of a community. Where I
First,
see people
safety,
go astray, whether that's in ministry, like preaching or teaching, right?
Yeah.
I'm getting creative with this new idea that I felt like the Lord gave me, and they go out there and they start spouting off heresy.
Yeah.
It's very scary. So the foundation has to be community.
Yeah.
100.
Guys, what is next for you? What's up? Tell the people how to get in touch. Tell the people how to follow, get things, be in your house, worshiping with you, whatever it is.
Okay. Yeah. So Shealy Music, at Shealy Music on all the social medias. And then YouTube is youtube.com/Shealy Worship.
Yep.
We put up a set every week there. We upload like our website from time to time, but like most of our communication is through Instagram.
Yeah.
And so everything we're doing is posted there. We're working on our album this year. We
itinerate like
Itinerating
as
quite
the
a bit.
Lord leads. It's not the same every year.
Yeah.
But that's a big piece of what we do. We're doing a lot in the UK right now. The Lord is just really breathed on some sweet relationships there, so we're leaning into that. But yeah, itinerating some, working on some projects. This is the first year of our entire life at 38 years old that we are actually just writing. Like, we're not doing any other kind of jobs in the music industry. We've never done that since.
No, it's the first time. This
Wow.
year's the year
So
to scribe.
we're literally only, holy scribing.
Holy scribing. Just write it all down.
That just sounds painful to me. Yeah. No, I love it.
It is.
I love it. You guys are incredible. And
Thanks, bro.
and I love your journey. I love having you as friends. I love hanging out with you guys. And I wish all worship leaders had the chill that you guys have. And there's so many out there that actually do. Like, we're actually surrounded by some of the best in the world.
Yeah.
And but what I love is what you guys are carrying as a couple, not just as an individual, but like as a family. You do this with a family, and that is so rare. I love watching you run around backstage with your kiddos.
Yeah.
I love because you always have like a mom there with you, or like someone else. It's like when you guys are around, man, it's just so much joy and freedom.
Thanks, bro.
And I am Team Shealy.
Come on.
All day long.
love you.
Will say this: insert 3 pictures of me wearing their shirt.
Yeah.
Now.
It's happening.
Okay, you saw it.
It's
Like,
happening.
I actually love your stuff.
Oh, yeah.
I love
you.
your t-shirt's one of my favorite. And I like get given stuff all the time.
Yeah.
It's literally my favorite. And
Oh my
and you
gosh.
know this.
I do.
Because I wear it constantly.
When bombs are being dropped on your head.
I was wearing
You're
your
wearing
t-shirt.
our
I'm
shirt.
like,
Yeah.
we're forever in debt to Will's marketing.
Will's
Thank
marketing
you.
plan. Thank you so much.
I just love you guys.
I love you too,
and
bro.
I love that these guys get to meet my friends, which is what I do this whole thing for.
Yeah.
And I just want to encourage you guys, reach out, listen to their stuff, go to an event that they're playing at, and experience their ministry, their incredible ministry, because God's on it. He's in it. And, man, I just wish the first time I heard about you that I met you earlier so we could be running together longer.
Oh, yeah.
But
We've got time.
My life is better with you guys in it.
We live in Atlanta, by the way.
Yeah.
So if
see
you're
us.
in that area, we'd love to connect with you or
Great.
whatever.
And they can just
Yeah.
DM
Yeah.
Yep.
on Insta.
Yeah.
So do that. Listen, we'll put their Insta in the description. Is there anything that I'm missing before we say goodbye?
I don't think so.
Is there anything? Is there any questions that I should have asked you that I didn't?
I don't think so. I mean, we hit a wide
Ooh, it did we.
We did. We covered a
a
lot.
wide array.
And if you have any issues what we hit, you can reach out to them.
You know where to find
Yeah.
us now.
You know
Yeah.
where to find us.
Yeah. And you guys actually have a podcast?
We're starting one. Yeah.
We're starting a
I've
podcast
watched
this year.
these clips of you guys sitting
Yes.
down with microphones
Yes.
talking. And you're so much more chill because you just like
Hold it.
you just sitting in chairs.
It's on our
holding-
couch. Yeah.
It is. We do everything at home.
Relational. Yeah.
I stinking love it. And I love what God's doing. I just love what God's doing with you guys.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Thank you.
No, thank you. And thank you
Yeah,
guys for watching.
so much. Yep.
Love you,
It's
bro.
been so fun.
I love you guys. I'm like Team Shealy all day long. So keep it holy.
Yes,
Don't
sir.
let me down.
We will not.
Just kidding. I'm
No.
totally joking. You don't
We
owe
won't,
me
Dad.
anything.
You wear our merch, we'll wear yours.
Okay, this is just something that I made for my staff. So
Yes.
It's great.
I love it.
I love it too.
I for Christmas for the last 2 years I've tried to make something for all the staff.
We're on that list now each year.
You are. You are.
We'll come lead worship like every once in a while just to make it official.
I love it. Well, listen, love you guys. Thank you for watching another episode with the Shealys. And like, subscribe, and hit a bell, and do the thing that I always forget to tell you to do. And just become a part of Iris, because it's awesome. And we have schools and things. Go to our website, irisglobal.org, and go check out what these guys are doing. Get their music, and we will see you on the next episode of the Iris Global Green Room. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Cheers.
I loved it.